Hello everybody, I'm Jimify, and in this video we are going to be talking about the normal distribution. Now before I begin, I'd like to ask you, if any of you have enjoyed my videos, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Anyway, let's begin. So, when we're talking about normal distribution, there's three slopes, so three different kinds of slopes. We have the perfect slope, where the mean, the median, and the mode are the same value, and there is no skew. Right. Then in the middle we have negative skew, where the mean is at the very tip of the slope, followed by the median, followed by the mode. Then, completely opposite, we have positive skew, where the mode is at the tip, the median's in the middle, and the mean is at the end after the median. Right. Now we talk about the slopes, we're going to talk about how much data is in each standard deviation. Now I've talked about standard deviation in a past video, so if you're interested in that, then go and watch it. Right? There's a difference between standard deviation and normal distribution, which is what I'm talking to you about here. So if I just draw you a little, I'll draw you a. Yes, I know, I'm not letting any of you see who I am yet. Right, hang on, so if we have that, hang on, that does not look very, right, so if we have, right, so we see these lines here, right, so if we have, if I'd draw a little X, actually not, hang on, right, see this big zero, that's going to represent the average for us, okay, and in the background that's my dog. So no, that big zero is going to be the average for now. See the two lines, there's one just before it and one just after it. That's one standard deviation. When we see two lines behind the zero and two behind in front of the zero, that's two standard deviations. When we see three lines behind and in front of the average, that's three standard deviations. In the first lot of lines, right, so I'll just draw that here, so from here to there, in that we have 68% of the data, okay. Now this is only talking about the perfect normal distribution like this. In this video we're not talking about the negative skew or the positive skew, okay. If we were to go from two standard deviations, then we'd have this amount of data, including the one standard deviation, right? And in all that, there's 95% of the data. Then, finally, if we were to include three standard deviations, forgive me for my drawing, right? We'd have about 99% or 99.7% of the data. If you're in a class of 30, then it'd pretty much just be 100% of each pupil. However, in like, I don't know, 1 million people, then that 99.7, that extra 0.3 would make a difference. Anyway, now we've talked about this, we've talked about the slopes and how much data is in each standard distribution. We can now put it into a question. So, give me a minute while I just rub off this. There we go. And I'm just going to draw us another bell curve. Yeah, this is the bell curve, by the way, okay? Anyway, let's get the question. Here it is. So the heights of 150 people are collected and shown to be normally distributed, right? So we know from this then, right? So here we need to find the mean weight, right? It's shown to be normally distributed, and the mean weight of the 150 people is 162. So the average is 162, and the standard deviation is 5 centimeters. Now, if you're going to one standard deviation, what we've got to do is, if we just draw in our marks here, so one standard deviation, because it's 5, we need to take off 5 to get the standard deviation below the average, and we need to add 5 to get the standard deviation above the average. So if we just do 157 and 167, And that's 1 standard deviation. There we go. If we were to get to our second standard deviation, then what we would do, if we start on the 157, the one below the average, we'd have 152, and then we'd have 172, sorry. So we'd have 172. I know this video is not very entertaining to watch, but these are mainly for revision, so yeah. And yes, these values are the second or 2 standard deviations. Let's just do the third one because it might be helpful, right? For the third standard deviation, we'd have 147 and 177, right? Oh, right, I forgot to add in the third. That's the third standard deviation, right? Anyway, the mean height and standard deviation is 5. Calculate the number of people whose height would have been between 157 and 167. So we look here, and we find the values for 157 and 167. Right? The last 1 standard deviation. So what we would do now, we would do 150 times. Now remember what I said about 1 standard deviation having how much data? Well, 1 standard deviation has 60% of the data. So what we do is 150 multiplied by 68. When we do this, we get 102. So that's how many people would have been between 157 and 167 centimetres. Okay? So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have a good day.